Alrighty guys, welcome back to Dunnick. If it's your first time tuning in, welcome. Today we're going to be going over my Saab 9.5 and over the brake booster replacement. I was a little worried going into this. I didn't know how it was going to go, and there is a couple write-ups on some of the Saab forums. There's one really good write-up that I kind of followed, but there's not really any videos. And for me, I like to see things first, so I'm going to try to kind of make a video and maybe help the next guy that is trying to get the booster done in their Saab. I don't know how the 9.3s are. I don't know anything other than the 2002 9.5. I'm sure it's the same as the 99 to probably 04, whenever the year change was. So I'm going to kind of go over what needs to happen, where all the bolts are, the easiest way to get it, and pretty much everything I can think of that you might need to do. So here's the old booster. It sits in the car like this. Your master cylinder's on the front. According to some people, they try to pull these 4 bolts here off the back. And I'm just here to tell you that ain't gonna happen. Not with my hands. I've tried, I even had a 13mm ratchet wrench, and it just wouldn't fit on those nuts, nor could you fit your hand in the space to get it. So the best way to go about this, I found, is pull off your windshield wipers and the whole cowl. And honestly, that's probably the hardest part of the job. Pick yourself up one of these. They call it a battery terminal or windshield washer or windshield wiper remover. Super handy. I tried a couple other different pullers before I just went and spent the $30 on that, because it made it, I wouldn't have been able to do this without it. I soaked the windshield wiper nuts down with PB Blaster the night before and tried to get into some of this. You can see there's kind of some corrosion on that there. So I tried to get some PB Blaster down into there and let that soak for a night. And then I put that tool on, put as much pressure on it as I could. It wasn't breaking free. So I decided to put some heat on it with the torch. And both of them ended up popping out after a couple seconds of some heat with the torch. So pull those off, pull your cowl off, and then there will be right down here. See if I can get you some more light. Right down there, that bolt, there will be a rubber grommet over that bolt. Pull that rubber grommet and pull that bolt out. Once you do that, you need to, it is easiest if you pull off the boost pipe, pull out the battery box, loosen the nut right there at the bottom of the fuse panel, remove these 2 nuts, lift this fuse panel up and lay it down here as far as you can. You're going to want to take the 2 nuts off the ears of your master cylinder, pull this master cylinder out, and you've also got this rubber hose back here. I'm not sure if it's a breather, a vent, or if it just goes straight to the brake lines. I don't really know what this one does. I just took it off and put a cap on it, because this hose will not bend or reach when you flip this up and over. So find a cap or a tube or something to plug that hole off, because the way we're going to do this, you're not going to have to bleed the brakes after, and it will make everybody's life easier. Take those 2 nuts off, plug that off. take advantage of these two flex lines, pull this master cylinder out, flip it up. I took a bungee strap and wrapped around it, and then wrapped up around the hood and down, and it kept it held up about here and out of my way. Shouldn't have to mess with any of the ESP, any of the fittings, none of that. Good chance you're going to strip them before you break them loose anyway. So, pull off the master cylinder. You may have to bend this bracket a little bit. Push it, unbolt it, whatever. There's a bolt in the back of there that you can pull off. That is pretty much all you have to pull. And it might make your life easier. I pulled this bracket here, pulled that off, and just flipped this wire up out of the way to try to clear as much of this out as I could. Once you get that out, you need to go under the car. I will try to show you. There are going to be two bolts under the car. The one you pull out under the windshield wiper cowl, that's this bolt up here. Now you're going to crawl under the car. It's easiest if you can get it 12 inches at least off the ground to where you can get on a creeper and crawl under it, or just crawl under it on the ground, whatever you got. And there's two more 13 millimeter bolts. They are way up there. I used probably 20 inches of extensions on my 3/8 wrench to get up to the bolts. And they're going to be right behind the wheel well there. You're going to crawl under and straight up, 20-inch extension. It really wasn't as bad as I thought that was going to be. Those two bolts will fall down, leave them lay on the ground, come back up top. I'll see if I can get a picture of those bolts in a minute. You're going to come to the inside of the car here, and we're going to see if we can get you some light in here. Hold on. Okay, get you guys in the footwell here. So if you look up under the brake pedal right here, right above that black triangle bracket, there is that metal clip with the pin going through it. That pin is holding the piston from the brake booster onto the pedal. If you take and lift that tab off the bottom of the pin there with the screwdriver, you can push that pin straight up and it'll pop right off, and that pin should come out rather easily. Installation of that is reverse. It's not too bad. Do yourself a favor while you're down here and look at where that booster comes through the firewall there. Take that rubber grommet, pinch it, and just push it through the firewall, or it will catch up while you're trying to pull the booster out of the top. Okay, back on the top of the car. Once you have the booster unhooked from below, under the brake pedal, you have your bolts under the car undone, you have your bolts up under the cowl undone, or your one bolt under the cowl. It does make it easier if you can get a second person to try to hold some of these wires out of the way. It is a tight squeeze coming out, and it's pretty tight going in. So I unhooked the sensor, put that sensor up there. I unhooked the brake sensor, put that up there. And then you should be able, with all of the master cylinder out of the way and everything, you should be able to grab that booster and pull it virtually straight out. It's going to take some wiggling. If you pushed that rubber grommet through from under the brake pedals before you got out from under there, then it should just kind of wiggle right out. And you've got, 10 inches of rod to pull out of the firewall. And this being the rubber grommet, you need to squeeze and pinch out and push out, or this will catch up in the firewall and be a pain. And then you can pull the whole booster right out. disassembly was by far the worst part of this, and I think just looking at it is worse than the whole job, and thinking about it was not as bad as I anticipated it to be. When I got finished, installation went way easier than disassembly. I did not have to bleed the brakes. My vacuum leak is gone, and it was realistically a fairly easy job to do. The only reason I have not put my Cowl, my windshield wipers, back on, they're actually laying right here still, and my Cowl over there, is I need to pop the ECU out of this, get pictures of it. I've got to send it off to get tuned and get ready to swap the bigger turbo, the Aero turbo. We'll be swapping to the Cobra pipe. We are gonna upset some of the Saab community, and we are going to be abandoning a good amount of this in here. We're gonna put a cold air on it, which isn't entirely a cold air, but it is what it is. Getting rid of the stock air box, getting rid of the MAF sensor in that location. We're gonna actually relocate the MAF sensor right above the throttle body. And we're going to run a 50/50 diverter valve. And then I have to put a new downpipe. Whoever had this car before me decided to butcher that downpipe and cut a 3-inch pipe off and weld a 2-inch pipe into it. A 2.5-inch pipe and weld a 2-inch pipe into it. So it needs some work. We've got a couple other things to do. But the brake booster was by far the main issue right now. So now that we've got that done, hopefully we can finish up some other things on the car and get some videos of that too. I would have liked to get more videos of the brake booster getting done, but it just, when I got in the flow of getting things done, I just never picked the camera up. So other than that, like I said, the booster job really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So hopefully you guys can kind of see, hopefully any questions you had are kind of answered, or at least put at ease with this video, and you can kind of see what you have to work with. Like I said, getting behind it to get to those bolts is near impossible. You just can't get in there. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll try to get you some pictures of the bolts under the car here. But if not, it's just two 13mm bolts. You crawl under there, look for the booster, and look at the bottom of it. And there's kind of a nice little path to get to them. So good luck, guys. And hopefully you can keep your Saab on the road. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.